Hi everybody, welcome to Dandelion Cottage and Marvelous Monday. I'm Leslie Watkins. So I have a few things pulled out and I'm not really sure how this is going to end up. I just have a vague kind of idea. So I thought I would take you through the process. I'm looking at this wonderful stamp set called Ranunculus Romance, and it comes in a bundle with these dies, ranunculus dies. And I really like this stamp set quite a lot. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a class around it. And because the bundle costs $49.50, it's just 50 cents short of hitting that $50 mark where you can order that free item from the celebration brochure. I think what I'm going to do is make this class that I'm going to be working on this week free with a $50 or more order. And so if this is a set that appeals to you, and I'll show you what it looks like a little bit better here, go ahead. It's kind of a shabby chic style, so it's going to, I'm envisioning something with lots of texture and layers. If this is the sort of set that appeals to you, if you use the host code that I'll be posting after the video today to purchase this, you will also get a free class using this set. So stay tuned while I get all the details together, and I will make a link, and then you can go ahead and just click on that one link. It'll take you to a page that will explain everything to you. I know it's a little bit vague right now, but that's because I'm still trying to figure out how this is all going to come together. So stay tuned. In the meantime, while I'm figuring all of that out, I did want to show you what I do to store my dies. So hang on just a second. I'm going to sorry, I had to grab my my label maker here. So zoom you out a little bit and we'll take a look at these dies because they look really interesting to me. We had nearly a foot of snow last night, so I'm a little discombobulated today. Okay, so let's see, we've got 8 dies here. I'm going to open up this pack along with you so you can see exactly how this works. Here they are. And what I have here is a magnetic sheet, and this measures 5 by, looks like 6.5 or 7. And all I do is I very carefully remove the dies from the card, and they're adhered to the card with this super sticky tape. So you want to be very careful that you don't bend your dies because they are delicate. There we go. We've got a great big one. Okay, now what I discard this, but I do save this. And the reason I save this is that in case I ever want to sell this set someday, I'll have the packaging for it. So then I just get these kind of organized on the card, and I try to leave a little bit of space on the upper. Let me get this guy in here. I try to leave a little bit of space on the upper left-hand corner here so that I can then put a label. And now, okay, so this one I'm already having trouble. You can see I'm trying to figure out how this lines up. So I'm going to show you how I deal with that. So I'm just going to keep going around until I find that spot. There we go. Okay, so once I have it lined up, what I do is I flip it over just like that, and then I take a marker. So if I can find a marker here, let me see. I don't have a marker handy. Let me just see if I can. That's not going to work. Okay, hold on just a minute while I get a marker so I can show you this properly. There we go. Okay, so I just do something like that. I just put a little mark, and that way I can line up the two pieces of the dies more easily. Get that back on here again. And then what I do is I take my label maker and I just type in, get the old one out, and I type in the name. So this is Ranunculus. See if I can see this. Ranunculus, that looks pretty good. And then I put the number of the dies in the set on there as well, because I want to be able to count them before I put them away to make sure I'm not missing any. And then I just peel this off. That on there. Okay, and then in my stamp set, it's a brand new set. So I'm just going to slip the labels in the back for now. And then I will store that together like so. Now every once in a while there is a die set that's larger, and I'll use a bigger piece of the magnetic sheet. And in that case I store the dies separately. But if it's convenient and it fits nicely in the set, I always try to do that. So that's a little tip for you if you were looking for ways to store your dies. And now let's get to the card. So I'm just going to do everything from scratch with you here today. This is going to be a kind of a prototype. So because it's a prototype, I'm just going to use some neutral colors. I'm going to begin with a thick, very vanilla card base. I think I have more than one piece here. And score at 4 1/4, cut at 5 1/2. There's my card base. Got two. Put the other one aside for the future. Give that a good burnishing. Make sure that that lays nice and flat and has a beautiful crisp edge. Alright, and then I have some pieces of crumb cake here. These are just scraps, so I'll grab a few of those for some die cuts. And I also have some of the, this is the 6x6 DSP, so let's see, I just want a nice neutral tone that coordinates, so there's something that looks nice. And I'll just grab another one just in case. I've got some gold foil paper, I've got some of the linen paper. And I've got a couple of scraps of very vanilla. So I've got some narrow pieces that I think will work well. Okay, so that's my paper, and then for ink I have some, I'll use some crumb cake. I also have some soft suede handy in case I want to get a little bit darker. And I've got one of my blending brushes. And let's see what else. I'll grab one of these daubers just in case. Alright, so the first thing I want to do is select my main image. So I think I'm going to go with this beautiful kind of a vintage ranunculus. So I've got my block out. Move some of this stuff out of the way. And let's see what this looks like. Because this is a brand new stamp, I want to make sure that the ink is adhering nicely. So I'm just going to, that looks great. And I'm going to put that right in the middle. So that's what that looks like. Very pretty. And since I have the ink out right now, I'm gonna go around the edges. Now, as I'm looking at this, I'm thinking maybe it's a little bit too big. I think I'm gonna finish this, put this one aside for a minute, and then I'm gonna make a little bit smaller one because I think that to be able to see all the different textures that I want to include with this. I might want a smaller one, so excuse me. Let's try it again on this more narrow one. Oh, that didn't come out so good. Let's do it again. That didn't come. I rocked the stamp. You can see those little halos around there. Let's try it one more time. There we go. All right, so that's a nice impression. And I'll just trim that down. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. There we go. All right, so that's that. Let's see what else we have here. Now, in this stamp set, you get this really nice fragment of a receipt with these numbers and this beautiful old handwriting. I think I'd like to use that as a little background. So for that, I'm going to switch my inks. I'm going to use my Sahara sand and stamp off and see how light I can get this and still be able to see something. Oh, that's just right. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of this on my image here. There we go. Just want to get some all over texture. I'm going to go ahead and grab a smaller block. And there's a little canceled postage stamp. The Eiffel Tower, very cute. That up in the corner here. There we go. Okay. I think I want just a little more sponging on the edges. So instead of using the dauber, I'm grabbing my sponge. I'm just going to bring that in. Now, while I have these things out, I do want to do a little bit of an experiment here. So I'm going to grab this sprig stamp. And the one I'm looking at is this one. And this time, I will use the crumb cake, and I'm going to try this on the linen paper. Okay. It gives you this really nice soft effect. And let me get this out of the way. What I love about the trimmer is that you can see exactly where you can make your cuts. And I just want to make a very narrow. There we go. Trim this down a little bit more. I want this to be almost like a patch. There we go. Okay, so now I've got two things ready to go there. All right, what else do we have? Well, let's get some of the die cuts ready. So in the dies, you have this really beautiful decorative motif, so I'll definitely use that. And you've got this wonderful sprig of flowers. That would be fun to use. And this leaf might be handy. So let's start with that. And oh, let's do one more bit of stamping here. I have a piece of crumb cake, a little scrap, and in the set is this tiny label, and that comes with its own framelit. So let's go ahead and use that. I'll do this a couple of times so I have some extras. Okay. All right, let's get the die cutting machine out and see what we've got. Making a little room here. start with this. And I'll keep this for later. Then I'm going to grab my gold foil and I'm going to put my little decorative element. And I just want to see what this leaf looks like in gold while I'm at it. Very pretty. I'll do another one of those. And oh, the leaf is beautiful. Okay, let's do this another time or two. One more. Okay, now I do want to try this. By the way, that could be very interesting as a negative die cut. Very pretty. So I think I'll hang on to that for a minute. I'm going to now take, let's see, let's try, let's see what happens when we cut this. Let me see, what's this one look like? Let's try this one. I'm going to try this this little sprig on the DSP and see what that looks like. Oh, it doesn't, the design doesn't show up too much on that. It's too fine. So I think what I'll do is I'm just going to grab another piece of the gold foil. Beautiful. Okay, I think that will do it for the die cutting. I'll put the machine just off to the side in case you need something else. And before I go any further, I'm just going to make sure I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 dies. I'm always afraid I'm going to lose a die, so I'm very careful about putting them away after I use them. So there we go. I'll pop that in the case. Get my items back out again. Look at these leaves. Beautiful. A little ticket, that needs a little bit of sponging, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, let's see. Any questions out here? Oh my goodness, everybody's here today on a cold wintry day. Let's see. Got Ginger, Kelly, Vicky, Shelley, Sandra, Danette, Becky, Bonnie, Abby, Carol, Jocelyn. Well, hello everybody. I'm so glad to see you all here today. I hope you're all busy crafting. What are you working on? Are you going to be making things in your craft rooms today? I know that there are people from across the country, so not everybody is snowed in like I am. So here are just a few of the elements that I was able to make with just this one bundle. I'll give you a close-up of that. So with an assortment of different papers, but just keeping it simple with the neutral tones, you can see I'm already getting a lot of texture going on here. So I really like the way this is starting to come together. And I think what I would like, I'm going to see if I can find a little piece of burlap. Well, sorry to take so long. I didn't find burlap, but I do have this kind of, it's a little bit heavier than what I had in mind. Okay, give me just a minute. I'm going to go look and see if I have something else. No, I don't have what I'm looking for. So I'm going to go to my linen thread instead, because this will give me the right color and that added texture. That'll work. That looks good. Okay, I need to trim down my cardstock. Let's see, maybe this is the right size already. It's pretty good. I want it a little bit wider. Okay, so 5 1/4 by 4. So when I do a card like this, or I should say a prototype, I'm really looking at it from a design sense where I can use these ideas, whether they are patterns or textures or tones, in the next generation. So, for instance, I may have a color palette in mind for a card like this. And once I have one of these little prototypes underway, I can then use that as a launching point for my next set of ideas. So it's almost as though this is a little exercise just in getting to know what the dies and the stamps and the papers can do and how they all work together. And it also, of course, helps me to formulate ideas. So that's just kind of a little bit of an idea of what goes on as I put these things together. So I'm thinking something like this. Okay. So what I want to do is get these layers assembled first. I'm going to fray the edges of this card a little bit. I'll give you a better look at that. I'm just rubbing my scissor blade to rough that up. And if it tears a little bit, that's okay. In fact, I may just tear it on purpose. Just going back and forth. You may, if you've been around for a while, you may have one of the old distressing tools. I have one, but it's in my carousel on my other desk, so I'm not going to be able to get that right now, but the scissors will work. You don't need to get fancy, and I'm just going back and I'm getting some more ink on those places that were roughed up. Here we go. I'll go ahead and put this one down. Who doesn't like a good shabby chic every once in a while? I know I do. This would also make a great box top. There we go. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my linen paper and just really rough this up. Now the linen paper is wonderful because it's actually a woven, very, very fine piece of woven linen. So when you do this, you actually get the little fibers all sticking out, which is a lot of fun. And I'll give you a close-up of that in just a second. So I think you can see all the little bits of fiber that are now pulled out of the paper. Now this has a backing on it, so if I can just peel that away. Okay, I've got this lovely sticky floppy little piece of linen. Excuse me. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to wrinkle it up a little bit and bend it. There we go. Okay, and we're getting somewhere. I actually like this one. I'm going to use this one. It's a little more subtle than the metallic gold. we go. All right. And then I have this little ticket, which I really like quite a bit. But I'm thinking what I'd like to do with this is maybe add some shimmery accent. Where is that stuff? I wonder if I have any handy here. Well, I'll think about it. It's, you know, it takes, when you use the what is it called? The shimmery accent. It takes a long time to dry, and so I may do that off camera. So for now, I'm just going to put this down as it is, because otherwise it's not going to have enough time to dry. Oops. Maybe that was fate. I think that was fate. All right, I guess it's going to stay right there. Sometimes you have to listen to the muse and just put the things where they land. That's okay. I'll put that up there. I love these things. I can see using these quite a bit for any number of projects. Yeah, I really like this bundle very much. So again, if this is starting to look interesting to you, and you think you might want to participate in a class, maybe even a challenge, maybe we'll do a challenge using these items, then stay tuned. Get on the mailing list at dandelioncottagedesign.com. Subscribe to notes, and I will send you all the information about how you can get this bundle, select a free item from the celebration brochure, and also get a free tutorial. Now, what did I do with my needles? I'm going to sew. I'm going to do a little hand stitching on here. Actually, I think I want to go around another time. Let me do that. Oops, I went the wrong way. Let's try that again. Hold on to that tail. Go on one more time. I love the way this thread looks, so I'm going to make it kind of wide. There we go. a little tiny bow. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Get organized here. All right, I think we're just about there. I want to add a couple of embellishments. So let me see what I have for embellishments. Okay, so I've got the brushed metallic adhesive dots. I've got one opened here. So I think I'm going to go with these bronzy toned ones. But before I put that on there, let me just adhere this down. Is anybody crafting along with me? Are you working on something? What are you working on? Do you have any ideas for new projects coming up? If you wait till the end to put your embellishments on, you're able to burnish your layers down better. So that's why I wanted to just get these things on the card base first. That's straight. Looks pretty good. Now, I haven't ruled the gold leaf out yet. I may do a partial. It's so darn pretty. I'm not sure. Let's see what it looks like if I snip off a piece. Well, I may be gilding the lily here a little bit, but I kind of like it. I do. Well, it may be a little over the top, but I kind of like it. So what I've done is I've just sort of reconfigured the leaf to make it fit a little bit better in this shape. And I think it's working out pretty well. So I'm going to go ahead and stick that down. Maybe I should use my tweezers for this. Could help. Go. Grab my next one. I'd say, whoa, that was a bit much. I'd say this is one of those bundles that is extremely versatile and would lend itself to any kind of application. It doesn't necessarily have to be a shabby chic as I'm doing here today. You could do a very, very simple. Let's put this like this. You could do a very, very simple card using these elements. They would be absolutely awesome on a box. And yeah, I would, if you were kind of on the fence about getting this, I would say absolutely grab it. Grab it while you can. You know how these things have been running out. So I think this is going to be one of those sets that I will keep coming back to. Here we go. All right, and now my embellishments. Something down there. I really like how these shapes are more organic than round, and I like they have a kind of a soft luster. They're not overly shiny, so that they just give you a very kind of nice subtle effect. Okay, one more thing. And that is, we're going to need an envelope. So here's our envelope. Now let's take a look at those stamps again and see if we can find one that would make a nice decoration for the outside. Okay, we didn't even put a sentiment, but that's fine. These, by the way, these sentiments are pretty great. You have a, in fact, these are among my favorite sentiments, things that work for every day, just for you, just because, hello, thank you for sharing your heart. There's this gorgeous decorative band here that would look spectacular, heat embossed. Okay, so I think I've actually fallen in love with this stamp set. So aptly named Ranunculus Romance. I really like it a lot. So let's see, what can we do here? I think I'll put the little flower sprig on the envelope flap. Get my pad out. There we go. And then on the inside of the card, I'm going to hold off on the inside of the card because I like all of these sentiments, and I'm going to wait till I'm ready to send it before I actually put one on. So that's it for today. A little bit of a play with the Ranunculus Romance, and I have to say I absolutely love this set. What do you all think? Do you like it? Do you like what I did? Does it give you some ideas? Most importantly, does it inspire you to want to do something with it? And I would love to see how you use it. I think what I'd like to do is make do all the things I said earlier. Have a little tutorial that goes into some of these techniques that you can get for free if you get the bundle. And then not only that, you'll also be eligible for the free selection from the celebration brochure. But I think we should also do some sort of a contest where you all take part in this, because I'm so excited by the set. I want to see what you all can do. So let's put our heads together and get creative and do as interesting and as creative a card as we can using this bundle. And I'll put something together, and we'll be able to post our cards on there so that everybody can learn from one another and we can see what we're all up to. So let me take a look at the comments here. Looks like you all like it. Becky's got a lot of ideas. You're all feeling a little bit inspired. That's awesome. Shelley's warning me not to use the gold leaf. Oh well. Listen, Shelley, there's a million of them. And Very Versailles. Yeah, this is Sandra. This is a lot like the Very Versailles, and but actually, the Very Versailles doesn't come with dies. So this is actually a lot more versatile than that. Although Very Versailles, I think, will always be one of my favorites. Okay. Well, it looks like you're all feeling kind of inspired. So I'm happy to see that. Thank you very much for joining me. I had a lot of fun making this card, and I have a feeling there's going to be a lot more using this bundle coming right up. So stay well, stay happy, stay creative, and get busy. I want to see what you do. Okay, this has been a lot of fun. And I will see you next time on Wednesday for Watercolor Wednesday.